Okay, so what are you saying, people, and welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. So today, guys, like always, another weekly analysis for you. On the screen of the pairs we'll be analyzing today, but make sure you stay to the end of the video because I do have a bonus pair in store. But yeah, guys, we'll go through my trades for the week first. We have 2 trades to go through, and then we'll progress into the analysis of the market for next week. So if there is a particular pair you are looking at, want to see my analysis to, feel free to skip ahead using timestamps below. But I had 2 positions this week, not the best week for me. It has been a great November or October as well, in a bit of drawdown. But again, you go through these phases as a trader when everything's going good, you're in profit, and there's times where the exact opposite is happening, and you have to manage your risk a bit more carefully. You know, some drawdown, and you're on a losing streak as well. Difficult times in trading, and I'm a big believer that this is the time where traders are made or they're dismantled. This is a time where traders, really push away from the rest of the crowd because it's very, very hard to stay consistent, stay disciplined, stick to your plan when times aren't going so well. But when things are going well and everything is, going perfectly, and of course you want to stick to your plan because that's what's causing, all the profits you're seeing. So when it's not going so well, that's the time you need to really focus and stay sharp. But yeah, my thought process is continue, take the same trades, take the same positions, the same setups, make sure I'm focusing on quality, be a little bit more calculated the risk. But yeah, it's not the first time I've been in some drawdown or losing streak, but of course, it won't be the last as well. But I had a position here on the Aussie CAD, a really nice trade to the downside here. Didn't play out. Of course, we can see price breaking to the upside, but had a lot of confluences in my favor. You can see the higher time frame here on the daily chart. Nice bearish channel. Market came back to the extreme of the channel. Really nice rejection on the daily chart. Had a beautiful shift on the 4H time frame. We've gone from making higher highs to lower lows and lower highs. We broke through the structure here. Nice consecutive bearish move there. Looking for the retest of that area of confluence. Had a nice trend line confluence. Came into a beautiful level of broken support. Now term resistance. Had a nice entry signal on the hourly chart. But of course we can see we had a big move to the upside. I think that was CPI. So and now it looks like price is actually reversing to the upside. So could be seeing a complete reversal on the daily chart. And again, as long as my trades, majority of my trades are kind of with the flow of the market with the higher time frames, I'm happy. If I do get the trade, not the trade wrong, but the idea wrong, and the market does reverse against me and it reverses the whole kind of trend, then that's kind of what I'm happy to see, because I want to be in the direction of the market. If the market is going to change, then I'll change my bias with it. And it looks like Aussie CAD could be looking to do that next week. Also took a loss on the NZD USD as well. Looks like I got into this trade a little bit too early, not in terms of my plan and my setup, but in terms of the market. I'm looking for a bigger move to the upside here for NZD USD. Recently we've taken out some key lows. Since then the market's been quite corrective, and it looks like we're finally getting a breakout to the upside here. I'm still looking longer term NZD USD coming back down here, but we might see a deeper pullback first before that sell-off. So that's kind of what I was anticipating for NZD USD. Since then, we had a nice breakout of the channel on the 4H. Really nice breakout of the channel and a break of that high. So I'll be looking for the retest of that. We've seen some nice bullish structure come into play, some nice higher highs and higher lows, and of course, really attractive bullish momentum as well. Big move to the upside, with a lot of momentum. A lot of impulsive behavior, which is what I want to see in my structure. So I had a really nice test of this area, nice bullish engulfing candle. However, again, the trade failed for that position there. Potentially the market is looking to form that higher low now and start pushing up. So if that's the case, then I'll probably be looking to retest of that high for some trades next week. But it's of course yet to be seen, because the market is kind of climbing back inside the range a little bit. So we could still potentially sell off, but I'll keep an eye next week for trades on NZD USD. But yeah, took a loss on that one as well. But of course, we'll start with Euro USD in terms of the analysis as always. So Euro USD is looking pretty interesting. I was expecting the market to actually see some downside last week, so it was still pretty corrective. I was looking for the market to start pushing bearish, but we had CPI this week, which completely blew everything out of the water. Dollar was very, very weak, and now we're seeing a very bullish Euro USD, bullish Pound USD. We'll go through some other dollar pairs as well, dollar yen too. But we can see a really bullish move here to the upside. I'm looking at this big level here at 1.1, a really big critical level for Euro USD. Big resistance once, twice, third time briefly, bit of a fake out there, fourth as well, and a big move lower. So I'm looking for us to come back and retest 1.1, and we're not too far off that at the moment. Current bullish structure it's still very impulsive, still seeing really nice momentum in the market here for euro. So I'm expecting this to continue, and it looks like we're seeing some nice momentum on a breakout there as well. So my analysis for next week is, if we see a bit more upside, looking for a pullback, a retest of this area of confluence, retest of that most recent high at 1.08900-ish, then looking at some buys back to that 1.1 level on the daily chart. So Euro USD to me is looking like a clear buy next week, as long as we maintain this bullish structure. If the market suddenly melts the downside and takes out some structure, then of course I will put a pause to that bias, but at the moment I'm not seeing any signs of that. So as long as we get a nice confident breakout, retest of that high there at 1.08900, looking for some buys back to 1.1 for next week. Okay, so now over to dollar yen. So dollar yen still trading at a massive level, which I've been speaking about for about a month now, maybe even longer. Price has been trading at this 150, 151 area. I haven't been looking to touch dollar yen really. Even with a 2-foot pole, I've been staying clear away from this level, because although we have been seeing a bullish dollar yen, price has been, sturdily moving to the upper side. We've been very corrected. We haven't really seen much momentum, showing a lot of signs of exhaustion. So it's not really a bullish trend that I want to follow. And the fact that we're trading into such a big level here, where last time we saw a humongous move to the downside, is definitely just not a place that I want to be looking to buy into, definitely as a swing trade at least. Again, day trade, you can probably take your pips for the day within that kind of range, but as a swing trader holding overnight, not really the place that I want to be buying into. But it looks like we could be seeing the reversal, or at least a bigger counter trend move to the downside, starting to come into fruition now. I'm not just yet looking for sells, but the fact that we are still stalling at the highs here, we're starting to print some bearish structure here as well. If I can see price break structure here of this most recent swing low, which gave us this high over here, then I will be more than happy to look for some sells on a retest of this area and take some shorts here for dollar yen. Again, still a counter trend position. The momentum, the overall momentum across monthly, weekly, daily, across the major time frames for me is still definitely bullish. But in this area here, with such a big level to our backs, this is a very good counter trend setup, which of course slightly more risky than pro trend, but still good trades nonetheless if done correctly. And I'm anticipating some downside here. We've got the bullish channel here. They've got the swing low, which potentially could see form, so there is a lot of downside potentially. Could even come back, retest the high over here. Let's turn that white so we can all see. Retest the high over there, so there's a lot of downside potential back to 145 potentially. But from a trading standpoint, probably not going to target those lows straight away. Looking at these lows here, maybe this area here, as well as areas for take profit, or just to manage your trades. That'll be up to you, of course. But for me, dollar yen, I want to see price go and take out 149, and then I'll look for my pullbacks, retest this level. Market's starting to form some lower lows and lower highs with some nice momentum as well. So that's why I'm getting a little bit more interested with dollar yen into next week. Now look for the retest of 150, more or less, yeah, 150, and then I'll plan some sales, possibly to this low here at 148. Maybe if the risk was not that good, I'll look at 147,500. But that'll be the plan next week for dollar yen. Okay, so moving on to dollar CAD. So dollar CAD, something similar in terms of the analysis to dollar yen, which we just looked at. I'm looking at big moves to the downside here for dollar CAD. Another dollar pair trading at some significant resistance, as you can see, around 1.389. Big rejection here, moves to the downside, almost in that vicinity as well. Big move to the downside. Now same in that same area as well. Potentially big move to the downside. So I know as a swing trader, I can probably plan some nice sells here if we can see the 4H market structure turn from bullish to bearish, which we're starting to see. The market hasn't really taken out any significant low yet. We are still printing higher lows here, so I do want to see a big break of structure first before I do start looking for some sells. But we are getting some hints that the market could be turning bearish with these lower highs, 1, 2, potentially 3 there, 3 over there as well. So if I can get a nice break of structure, I'll be more than happy to look for the retest of the most recent low, which would be this low here, 1.366. And from there, I'll be looking to sell as a fly ran into my face there. Then I'll be looking to short the market. We've got a nice level around here, 1.356. Also this level here, 1.343, looks pretty good to me as well. So in my book, dollar CAD starting to look like a really nice short opportunity. However, I just want to see market break through some structure first, because if not, we could still potentially push higher, maybe even break the level too. So I don't want to jump into any shorts too early. when the market is still bullish. We're seeing some good signs. We could turn bearish, but nothing concrete just yet. So let's get a nice break of structure, 1.365, and then some retest. Then we can look to sell back down to 1.357 or 1.343 next week. Okay, so moving on to Euro Pound. So Euro Pound, I'm still looking for some sells. I'm not really interested in buys. The market is, yes, it is moving to the upside very slowly. If I go to the daily chart, probably see a bit more clear. So we'll be moving to the upside in this bullish channel. However, we're still throwing a ton of wick to the upside. Not really seeing any convincing momentum or any convincing bullish strong candle closures in this area. You can see we're still trading in this big level of support, now turn resistance. I don't really want to be looking to short in these areas. I mean, buy in these areas, sorry. I want to be looking to short if we can start seeing some evidence the market's breaking some structure, seeing some lower lows and lower highs, and then I can start planning some trades again for Euro Pound. So what I want to see is the market starting breaking out this channel, give me some lower lows and lower highs to work with. Then I'll look for the retest of a level somewhere to short. Again, hypothetically speaking, possibly a retest of this low. Again, the setup's not really formed yet, so I'm kind of just thinking ahead here. The setup might be a bit lower. I might be looking for a retest of this low or a different low that hasn't formed yet. But something of this nature, of these characteristics, is what I'm looking at for Euro Pound. Not really interested in the buys here when we've seen such a bullish trend that's showing a lot of signs of exhaustion. Not really a trend that I want to follow. I want to be seeing if that trend can turn and then go that way. So that's the plan for Euro Pound. Keep an eye on this channel here. We can start breaking through, possibly some shorts on the retest of 0.87, targeting some lows here. And if we're looking for a bigger move, some lows down here at 0.862 as well. So that'll be planned next week for Euro Pound. Okay, so moving on to Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar looking for some buys next week. I was pretty bearish coming into this week for Aussie dollar because it did look like we had a big fake out over here. We had this nice bearish channel and the market had a big fake out to the upside, and now it's back inside that channel. So expecting us to continue south. However, the market formed a big lower high here, or not lower high, sorry, a big higher low in this area, although not really confirmed yet. We have wicked higher, but we haven't really seen a significant close higher. But it looks like the market has come back to retest the low of that channel, and now the market is looking to reverse to the upside. So with Aussie dollar, I'm still bearish longer term, looking at pushing to that low, but we might be seeing a bigger move to the upside first before selling it off at a later date back down to the lows here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at with Aussie dollar. Longer term. In the short term of things, I do think we can catch a nice buys to the upside. Still seeing a lot of bullish momentum present here for Aussie dollar. If we can break through this high here at 0.65, I think some retests of this level look very attractive. And then we got the 0.6 level, 0.66 sorry level, not too far ahead of us for some targets. I think that makes perfect sense to me, and take advantage of some nice counter trend moves, but a good high probability move as well, because we are starting to break back above some key levels of support here, which was acting as resistance. If you do see that breakout on the 4H I'm talking about, then we'll probably see a nice retest to continue this move high as well. So there's a lot of confidence from a top down perspective, down to the 4H, down to the hourly. All we need to do now is find a nice entry on a retest. So that's the plan next week for Aussie dollar. Keep an eye on a retest at 0.652 and some buys back up to 0.66. Okay, so over to NZD CAD. So NZD CAD coming into the week, I was pretty bearish, looking for us to come back down into the lows. At the time, the market was still rejecting the high pretty well, and I was looking for us just to continue this bearish channel here back to the lows here at 0.79750. However, it looks like we are starting to try and break the high. I'm not convinced just yet that we are trying to break through the high and the channel high as well, the upper end of the channel. If you do see a breakout of that, then I'm expecting a lot more upside for NZD CAD back to this high up here at 0.84. That's the next major target I'm looking at. However, I wouldn't say the breakout is convincing just yet. So on the 4H time frame, what I'm looking at is if NZD CAD can break to the upside. So at the minute, we're kind of trading in this vicinity here, retesting some highs here on the left. If we can break to the upside, see a higher high, then on the retest of that high, that to me looks like a really nice opportunity to continue the trend to the upside back to 0.84160, because at this point in time, we probably got a confident breakout of this bearish channel. We're still consistent with the higher lows here. We got one over there, second, third, and now looking to anticipate the fourth. We've cleared the high there. This is probably now being used as support. And of course, we're broken out the channel. So For me, NZD CAD looks like it's gearing up for possible breakout of this big descending channel and possibly going through a big reversal here, but I would wait for the next higher high and higher low to form, as in a nice push up, then looking for the retest, and then looking for some buys off the back of that. So keep an eye on the retest of 0.827 and some buys back to 0.84. 160 will be the plan for next week. Okay, so over to pound NZD. So pound NZD, I still don't really have much of a bias for this one. It's been a lot of consolidation for this one. We're trading at a nice area on the higher time frames. If we go to the daily chart quickly, you can see we do have a bullish trend here. The market's actually retesting a pretty substantial area on the weekly chart as well, which could mean more upside as well. But as of late, we've just been consolidating back and forth. We had a consolidation. If I go to the full H time frame, we had a consolidation over here on the left. Market broke out of that. Then we came into another consolidation over here. Market was just moving sideways between that. Then we had a break to the upside. The market came back down. We tested the low. So we've just been, back and forth between between two different levels, essentially this high and this low. And I'm just treating this whole vicinity, this whole area, as indecisive price action, as consolidation, waiting for price to pick its moment, waiting for price to pick its direction, and then I can start planning some trades from there onwards. Because if we can clear the high here, then it looks like, okay, this higher time frame trend is going to continue. The market's just having a bit of a pause. We had a nice impulse here. This is our correction. Now we're going to see an impulse to the upside. So if you do clear the high, then I'm going to be expecting us to come back to retest that level, possibly this high, and eventually the high over there. So we can kind of just target the previous major swing highs and slowly take our buys in that direction. If we do break to the downside, however, and start clearing these lows, possibly might be a reversal, and we could be looking at leaving the channel behind and coming back into the lows here at 2.03. So I can see price breaking to the upside. I can see price breaking to the downside. As which way I'm looking for, again, I'm pretty much 50-50 right back down the middle. I don't really mind which way we break to. They look equally as good opportunities. One looking for the reversal, one looking for the continuation. At the moment, the market's kind of 50-50. So with pound NZD, I'll be waiting to see if we can break the low or break the high. And then, of course, after that, then we can plan some nice trades on the retest of that. And, of course, on the retest of the low as well. So if you're looking at pound NZD next week, I would highly recommend staying away from this area. No clear-cut directional, clear-cut trend. If you do start breaking through 2.09534, then yes, the buys look pretty good there to the upside on a retest of the low. Got a nice target there, 2.11 to target. And of course, if you start breaking to the downside, look for the retest and expecting to see a push back down to where we came from, which is this low here at 2.03. So that's my outlook going into next week for pound NZD. Okay, so moving on to CAD Yen. So CAD Yen, I'm favoring some more downside. However, it's quite indecisive, and quite frankly, I'm not really focused on this pair next week. We are still respecting a pretty significant high, similar to dollar yen. This is a previous high from 2022. Big move to the downside, now trading that same area again and still rejecting it. So possibly we could be seeing a big swing to the downside if we see a successful rejection. If I do expand this as well, we do have a long-term bullish trend at play here. From March 2020, we've been seeing some higher highs and higher lows consecutively, and we're coming into the vicinity of the top end of that channel and with that resistance there as well. So we've got some good confluence here where sellers could be looking to step in, possibly reverse things. We're showing a nice uptrend, but showing some signs of exhaustion here, failing to take out the high there, seeing some strong bearish moves to the downside as well. It looks like slowly, but maybe surely, CAD Yen is looking to reverse the downside eventually. However, for me, I want to be seeing price starting to break through some lows first, because quite frankly, for me, this kind of whole area here is consolidation, all the price action here. So if I can see price actually starting to break lower, take out some of these lows, then I'll be more than happy to look for some shorts and a retest somewhere, targeting the lows there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, which could be maybe in a week or two. The other pairs that look a lot better for next week, so I'm not really focused on CAD Yen. But if you're looking for a bit more of a day trade, taking a small piece of the pie here, we have seen some nice momentum. Looks like the market kind of faked some people out here. A lot of momentum to the upside, rip to the downside. So if you can see a retest of this low here, probably looks a little bit better on the hourly time frame. Probably take advantage of a nice short back into the low here, which is where the market is throwing some wicks on the daily time frame. So 108 400, 108 500 looks like a nice take profit. If you're looking for some short term, not really short term, I mean, how many pips is that? I mean, it says that 100 pips is still a pretty big move, but yeah, because of the nature of the market, how it's moving, I'm just calling it indecision, and I'm moving on to the next pair. But if you're looking at CAD yen, there is some nice momentum with it at the moment, so that does look attractive, and I do think there's a good chance we'll probably come back and retest the low here at 108 300 400 in that area. So yeah, CAD yen more downside, keep an eye on a retest of 109 300 for some shorts back into the low next week. Okay, so over to pound USD. So pound USD, my outlook for this one's very similar as my outlook to Euro USD. Again, we're still seeing a confident bullish trend here, a lot of bullish momentum, So looking for the break of the high and the retest and the continuation of that. And if we do drop to the high time frames, you can see for pound USD, we are breaking through a significant area of resistance here, which was support briefly, resistance. Now the next level I'll be looking for price to come into would be this area here, really nice resistance once, support. So 1.26 is the next key level I'm looking at. We haven't really broken away from this level here, but if we do get the retest, the breaking retest I'm looking for, then yes, we would have broken through that level, and I will be expecting that trend to continue. So buys look really good on the retest of this level next week, which is the high over here at 1.25. Looking for the retest, stop loss a few pips underneath the low, targeting 1.26, probably get a nice 1 to 2, 1 to 3, maybe 1 to 4, depending on your entry, of course. But in terms of direction, still seeing a confident bullish trend here, higher highs and higher lows. Let's see if we can get the break and the retest of the high this week. Retest 1.25 and then targeting around the 1.26 mark for next week. Okay, so next up we've got pound CAD. So pound CAD looking pretty bullish. I was expecting to see if pound CAD could reverse this week. We had a very big move to the downside, so I was looking at this being correction for a big continuation to the downside, but we never broke structure, which is why it's so important to wait for structure to break first before you do look for your reversals. Market has been pretty consistent with these higher lows, and we formed another one this week, and we came back to retest the high there as well, and the market is still holding onto that level. So for next week, I'm still looking at more upside. We're still seeing confident momentum. In fact, we're seeing more improved momentum. Before we're quite sluggish. Now we're seeing some confident momentum, creating some new nice highs. So if you can see that continue, looking for the retest of 1.71280 for next week. And we do have the highs here back at 1.72995, basically 1.73. So the analysis for pound CAD is looking at more upside buys back to that high there. Again, don't necessarily need to target the high. There is a crucial level here as well, around about 1.72133. So that could be a nice place for some partials or just again target outright. But the way I do seeing pound CAD next week is still looking to attack the highs. It's still as long as we maintain that bullish structure, still looking to attack the highs and look for our retest for continuation. So keep an eye on the retest of 1.713. And looking to target overall a push to 1.729 for next week. Okay, so moving on to pound yen. So pound yen, I'm looking at some counter trend behavior. We had a big move to the upside this week, which we were looking for. Didn't really see the retest of the high though. Price broke to the upside pretty convincingly. Didn't really see the retest of the high or the retest of that high there. So market had that brief consolidation and then just flew to the upside. But now that we created some new highs, the market is again showing signs of exhaustion in the higher time frame. Overall, we are pretty corrective now with pound yen, with this kind of channel moving in. We've created some new highs, but I'm looking at some counter trend behavior next week. I'm not really looking to buy pound yen at these prices unless we have a deeper pullback. And again, if I do zoom out to the, well, still on the daily time frame, you can see we do have again this long-standing bullish channel, this bullish trend since March 2020, basically the low from COVID. The market's still attacking to the upside, but you can see we're trading in the upper end of this channel here. I do think once we do see some healthy corrections, some healthy reversals on the lower time frames, we could be seeing a bigger move to the downside into these areas, possibly coming back to retest this high here. Again, more longer term, not really looking at trading that idea unless you're looking at position trading or some really long-term swing trading. Not really looking to trade that idea, but just knowing where we are in the grand scheme of things does help add confluence and and adds a bit more of a story to your trade, so you kind of know what move you're taking advantage of. Is it a continuation? Is it a reversal? Are we just taking a small piece of the pie and a big consolidation? Knowing that context can really provide a lot of clarity to your trading. So I'm looking at the retest of this level here. Now this trade's a bit more aggressive than a trade I would normally go for, retesting the high there. We do have some smaller highs in the lower time frames, so there is some bearish structure starting to build up, but it is a little bit more aggressive, I do have to admit, because everything is still pretty bullish. Weekly, daily, monthly, all still showing a lot of signs of bullish behavior. So this definitely is a bit more of an aggressive trade, but doesn't make it a bad trade either. So looking for a push just back down to where we came from into that low, possibly into these areas here as well. But again, with such an aggressive counter trend move, I want to be taking my profit a little bit earlier than I would normally do. So this low here looks like a very nice place just to take the profit and move on to the next position if we do get that move, of course. But keep an eye on the retest, the 186.739, which is the high there on the left. Come back, retest it, lower high on the lower time frames, looking for a push back down to 185.500, maybe even 185 as well. So that's the plan for pound yen. Okay, so moving on to gold. So gold, I actually really like gold for next week. It's definitely going to be on my watch list for next week. Gold maybe at the top of the watch list, but I really do like the price action we've got on gold. We finally got the rejection of 1950, 1945, which is the high over here. We had the big break of structure, taking out that high and that high after this big bullish move. We come back for the retest. I'm anticipating this to be the next higher low for gold, for a move to the upside, back to the high here, which is 2K, just above 2K. And then back to the high all up here at 2050, which is kind of the all-time high resistance area for gold. So that's why I do see gold pushing towards. We've got some really nice shift in structure in the 4H time frame. As you can see, we've gone from making lower lows and lower highs for gold to now making higher highs and higher lows with some nice momentum as well. So what I'm looking for gold next week is the retest of this area here, 1975. If you can get a retest of that level, I'll be more than happy to look for some longs on a confirmation with some targets back at the high here at more or less 2K or just above it, 2005, 2006, into that kind of price range. So with gold, looking at buys next week, let's hope we can get a nice retest of that level. Again, there could be room to leave some positions to run back to the high there at 2050. However, I would suggest taking most of your profit at the 2K high there, because we could easily sell off again if gold wants to. But in terms of the top down perspective, high time frames down to the 4H hourly, we've got kind of kind of equal kind of characteristics between all of them, all showing signs of more upside. Of course, doesn't mean anything is 100%, but it means it's just very likely to happen. So if you can get an entry signal here, you can get a confirmation, definitely a trade that I would look to take next week. If it fails, it fails. If it wins, it wins. But as long as the reasons we're taking it are for the right reasons, that's all we can do as traders at the end of the day. So planning to take some gold longs if you can see a retest of 1975, 76, and buys back to 2K next week. Okay, so over to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's still looking pretty bullish. This is the daily time frame. Everything's still looking up, although we are showing some signs of corrective behavior. Maybe the market's slowing down, starting to exhaust a little bit. Maybe the next retracement is imminent with Bitcoin. However, not looking to do anything until we come back down to the prices of 32, 31K, retest that level, and then looking for some buys. If we do drop to the weekly chart, you can see we are still pretty consecutive with these higher lows. So looking for the next one on the retest of that level, 32, 31K, and looking for the retracement of that big bullish move, and with some longer term targets around the 46K mark. Now with Bitcoin, we can continue higher pretty easily. You don't necessarily have to retest that level, but I know that's a good place to retest because that's where a lot of sellers were previously. Now it'll return support for us. If we can see a rejection of that level coming back into the low end of the channel as well, there are some good confluences resting around here for some buys back up again. Of course, if we do retrace from here as well, that probably would be a nice target just to have back to where we came from, back to that high. But if you're looking to stretch the trade a little bit further, trail stops, looking for possibly a push back to the highs. If you're looking to really push the trade, then of course this is a nice key area to target as well, maybe to take some partials or or trail stops even further. Again, a lot of momentum came from here. There's a good chance we could see another reaction at that same area. So Bitcoin's still pretty bullish. Keep an eye on the retest of 32K. Again, it may take a few more days, maybe a week or how long to get there if it gets there. So it's nothing immediate, but still a big level, which I do think can give us some nice buy opportunity. So keep an eye out for the retest, 32, 31K in that area for some buys back to where we came from next week. Okay, so for our bonus pair this week, last but not least, we've got dollar Swiss. So for the dollar pairs I've been talking about during the analysis for this video, I've been favoring dollar weakness pretty much across the board. Dollar yen, dollar CAD, Euro USD, Pound USD, Aussie dollar. I've been favoring dollar weakness. However, if we don't see that and we see a lot of dollar strength next week, I think dollar Swiss could be a nice trade to take. Of course, I'm still looking for more downside. As you can see by the arrow here, I'm still favoring more downside for dollar Swiss. So the idea is still dollar weakness. However, if we do see a big push to the upside, some dollar strength, maybe for 2, 3, 4 days, then of course the Euro USD, the Pound USD, the dollar yen I'm looking at wouldn't play out, but possibly we could be seeing that bigger pullback needed to get to some dollar Swiss positions to short back down again. Nothing about dollar Swiss right now is bullish to me really. We've had a big break of structure on the higher time frame, so the daily chart here, big break of structure. Possibly we could be forming a higher low to attack bullish, but at the moment in time we're not seeing any signs of that higher low. We're still seeing strong bearish momentum, we're still seeing lower highs as well, so I'm still definitely a bear for dollar Swiss, looking for some pullbacks and some continuations. However, the pullback I'm looking for dollar Swiss is a bigger pullback. Therefore, if you do see some dollar strength come into play, dollar Swiss could be a nice one to look at. If some of the other setups we're looking at don't actually set up, dollar Swiss could be the one to do that. Of course, if we kind of don't really see a lot of retracement for dollar, if dollar doesn't really see much strength and we just see a lot of weakness, then probably Euro USD, Pound USD, Aussie dollar, probably the best bets. But if we do see what could happen on the other spectrum, some dollar strength suddenly comes into the market, then dollar Swiss shorts look good later in the week. But as we can see here for dollar Swiss, still showing a lot of bearish momentum, still showing a lot of low lows and low highs. Recently we just took out this low here and this low here, so everything is looking pretty bearish to me now. So if we can get a nice pullback, retest, that's what I'm looking to sell. There's no other place that looks good to me. I know we are breaking through the low here. It's just a very corrected break, not really showing much momentum below it just yet. If we pull away further, then maybe I'll consider, but I need a really big pull, a big move to the downside for me to consider shorting at those prices. At the moment, this is the only one that looks good, so I'll keep it on the retest of 0.89500. And yeah, again, wherever we came from, if we pull back from here, then those will be my targets back down to where we came from. So keep an eye on that most recent low, but still looking to short dollar Swiss next week. Overall, the theme for next week is still looking to take advantage of dollar weakness. But yeah, guys, that does bring us to the end of the weekly analysis. If you have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like on the video. This really help out the channel. Subscribe if you want to see more of the content, find it useful, educational, informative. Please be sure to show some love on the channel and also hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you all in the next one.